Okay, we're going to get started here. I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you for coming tonight to our 2020-21 Winter Awards Banquet. My name is Paul Kissel. I'm the head boys basketball. I'll be starting tonight, followed by girls basketball, Reese Oswalt, followed by wrestling with Skylar Stern, and then Jenny Posh will be doing cheerleading, or it's still cheerleading, right? It's not like, okay, cheerleading. And then Taylor McIntyre will be closing the evening with our dance team. So, again, just like to thank you. I apologize, no food. I want to blame the new wrestling coach. He was unaware that he was supposed to provide the meal tonight, because I can think of no other reason why we wouldn't have food and be sharing that tonight. But, that's the way it goes. So, I'd just like to start out with our thank yous. I'm sure each coach will have their own. And there'll be a lot of repeats because there's a lot of special people that took part and made this season the special season that it was. And so I'd first like to thank my coaches who are up here, Jeff McGowan, Chase Raw, and Jason Sutton. Each have their own personality and they bring their own voice to this program. And so I know if you talk to your sons, they would echo that each are just a positive role model that is involved with our program. So I'd like to thank each of them. I'd also like to thank their wives, Nancy, Jamie, and Melanie. They sacrifice their husbands, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad, but they do make an important impact on the young kids here at Waco. I'd like to thank my own wife, Melissa, and she said I'm supposed to keep it short tonight, so that's all I'm going to say. And Ellen, my daughter, I didn't know she was here. I don't know. No, both of them, my daughter Ellen and Melissa, they both kind of sacrifice a lot of time with me, which, like I said, isn't always a bad thing. It makes them hopefully appreciate when I am there. But as far as head boys coach, I miss about a quarter of all of Ella's games. And as a proud parent, that sometimes is a little difficult as I start preparing for the boys' games. And so I appreciate the sacrifice both of them make to allow me to coach. Again, I'd like to thank all the parents, step-parents, grandparents, guardians here tonight. Come to the games. It's really nice as the season progressed that you were able to attend ball games this year and just be the proud supporters of the team that you are. And so that just makes a world of difference, I think. And I'm glad that the state was allowing that towards the end. Again, the staff, Chad Eaker's our AD, during this particular up and down season, all the adjustments that made with the schedule, tickets and all that kind of stuff. He did an excellent job handling that. I want to thank him. Tim Bartels, Chris Armstrong, our administration, they did an excellent job, again, just kind of staying out of the way and letting us do what we do here this winter and made it as smooth as possible. Eric Merida and Chase Raw do an excellent job maintaining this facility. You'll notice the mat behind us, that was an addition this year. I guess you break one leg and all of a sudden you gotta get a new mat. So if anybody wants to volunteer, we can use some. No, I'd like to thank Gary Cole. She helped me with the certificates this evening. I'd also like to thank all the coaches, the junior high coaches, Jay Coble, Denny Green, for their work this season. Again, building up the programs. Brad Shetler on the girls' side. Ethan Spronk, Corey Oswald, you still see their impact on our freshmen and sophomores still. I'd like to thank Jay Coble and Karen Lichty for the job they do, keeping our books every night, every game. Poster sponsors, Eichenberger Farms, Cervity Spa, and the pictures are provided by Lori Miles. This year, Chad Eaker, Rhonda West kind of stepped in there, took a few that we were missing. I'd like to mention the chorus and Jane Cook for the way that they prepare and how wonderful our national anthem sounds when it's performed live here at Waco. They go to other gyms, and you really appreciate what we have here. I'd like to thank our athletic boosters and the parents who work in the concession stand. Without them, I would not get popcorn. That's a big deal to me. So thank you for that, sacrificing that time. This year up there on the white camera, we had a Huddle camera this year. The boosters paid for our Huddle subscription, which provided that. Next year we'll have to pay a little more, but it was well worth it for those that did stay at home and had to watch our game stream. They're a little too good, right? Teams that were scouting us could see everything, and that's just the quality I think Coach Eaker demands in our programs, and you can see it right down to our streaming program. Again, I'd like to thank Lisa Graber. She organizes the youth program here, Youth Association. I'd like to thank all the officials and volunteers who did that, and coaches, Josh Miller, Isaiah Stauffer for the work they do. Again, preparing our youth and making them successful as they build up through our youth program into our junior high and then into our high school system. I'm going to also mention that this year we had one little difference in the gym. Probably was unnoticed, but our side baskets had extensions put on them. That was done by Tim Graber and Skylar Stern. I can say that now because they lasted all year. So Tim, there's no more liability. They're still up, so it's good. That's one of the things that we'll be looking to improve as we move forward. Maybe getting square bank work on the side, and you'll hear more about that later on. I'd also like to thank the cheerleaders for their support, and Coach Posh will be here later to talk about them. Jet Physical Therapy, we had Matt Fuyard and Shauna Searing. They came to our games and provided us with the medical attention we sometimes needed. And we were blessed this year where that wasn't much. So I think that's all I have for thank yous. Did I forget anybody? Okay. So I'm going to move on now to our JV program. I'm going to pass the mic over here to Chase Raw. Him and Jay Sutton did an excellent job this year, and I don't want to steal any of their thunder, so I'm going to let them talk to them.
Well, thank you, Paul. I walked in here, he told me that we were going first, and I kind of expected maybe half an hour to kind of figure out what I was going to say, so thanks for springing this on, Paul. JV season here. We were 16-4. We had a really good season, really good underclassmen coming up through here. We had one loss to Notre Dame where we lost by 11, and that was our fourth game in 5 days, so we were pretty worn out. In all our other games, one West Burlington beat us with a 3-year at the end, went into overtime with Northland, and lost to Notre Dame by 3, I think. So we were in there in every game. They competed, just how us coaches wanted them to. They were very coachable and made it very easy on us. I know I was trimming my beard before I came in here, and I had a lot of gray hair, and it's not because of those kids, I promise you that. They did a really good job this year and made it really easy for us. So we'll start it off here with Hunter Hughes. I know some of these kids might have played some varsity, but we're just going to talk about the underclassmen to start. Hunter Hughes probably got the most coaching for me this year. That's because he's my nephew. You guys don't know that. So he probably got a little bit more of the upper tones from my voice compared to some of the other kids. But very coachable kid. He played JV to start the year and then moved up to varsity there towards the end. And probably the main reason is because the kid just doesn't stop. His motor is nonstop. He's always in the right spot. He doesn't quit. He never gives up on a play. If there's a loose ball, he's going to go get it. And that showed every single game, in and out. He's probably the best shooter we have on the team already. So that's probably why he moved up and why he had such a good year. So good job. Colton Lakeview this year. We had a theme going on all year. I'm sure he knows what it is. Don't dribble so much. Okay? Tall kid, he's a post naturally, right? He likes to dribble the ball a little bit too much at times. He'd come down the floor and just get into a corner and start dribbling and wouldn't give it up. He'd just have blinders on. Towards the end of the year, he figured that out. Varsity game, here at the end, he grabbed the ball, got a rebound, and just stopped. Kind of didn't really look like he knew what he was doing, but he knew he wasn't going to dribble. So he learned towards the end, had a very good year for us. Ended up playing some varsity there towards the end, so good job. Reese was another freshman this year that started on the JV team and then moved up to varsity towards the end. Really good fundamental basketball player. He can drill the ball really well. He played point guard for us. He played some two guard. He'll get in there and rebound. He blocked shots. He just did a little bit of everything. Really figured out how to pump fake, take a couple dribbles, take the ball up and shoot it from the free throw line, elbow area. Did a really good job of that towards the end of the year. He was tough to stop. Next step for him is instead of stopping, going to the basket and shoot some more free throws. But we'll figure that out. I know he will. He's going to work hard over the summer and he'll get a lot better. So good job, Luke. I'm not going to try to say your last name. He's not here. That might be a good thing. Okay, Marco. Crazy. If you guys don't know Marco, he is a ball of fire. Oh my God. Never a dull moment with Marco. He is nonstop talking and won't stop. Which, not a bad thing. He's going off the track, which is really good for him. So that's Marco. Tyler. Tyler was a sophomore this year. He started off the year with a knee injury. We were doing some strength and conditioning stuff in the gym before basketball, and we jumped over a hurdle and came down. Something popped. Had to have a little minor surgery, so he's a little bit late to the game. But when he did get in there, did really well. Very physical kid down low. He's a post guy for us, and he knows what he wants to do when he gets the ball. He's going to shoot it. It's not a bad thing. Okay, sometimes you got to talk people into doing that. Not talk. He's going to shoot it, which is a good thing. And he did a really good job towards the end of the year rebounding, and probably by far our best defender down in the post. So if he works hard at it, he can probably get some varsity time in the next couple of years and really help us out. So, good job, Tom. Cody Graver probably grew 3 inches over this basketball. But I look at his pants and I'm thinking about that. And if you know what his knee looks like right now, probably right too. He had to have a knee procedure here towards the end of the year. He came to us telling us that his knee was bugging him, and he had a little bit of problem with his knee. We don't think we quite have it figured out yet, but he will here shortly. Big, tall, rangy kid, rebounded well. Played pretty good down in the post when he got the ball. He wanted to shoot it, which was good. His next step, he can get in the weight room, and if he keeps growing, if he gets a little stronger, he'll be able to help us a lot down low. So that's his next step. Oh, Cole, I don't think we have enough time to tell all the stories about Cole. We were in practice one day, we were shooting free throws, and Cody and Cole and Mason were shooting free throws out of basket. And I turn away for 2 seconds, and all of a sudden I hear smack on the floor. I turn around, Cole's laying on the floor right on the back. And we went back and watched the video here in the office, and Cole jumped up and tried to grab the net, and he's obviously more like a dog than he is a cat because he didn't land on his feet. He landed right on his back. Probably one of the better shooters on our JV team. If he was open at three-point line, or even if he wasn't open, a lot of times he was going to shoot it. And a lot of times he went in, drive to the basket, throw it over his head, get going. Earned a lot of playing time because he was one of those kids that just wouldn't quit either. He played really hard every time he was in there. So when he did that, that's how he got a lot of his playing time. So good job, Cole. Noah was our sharpshooter this year off the bench. Seemed like every time he got in the game, they'd go zone, and we would run cyclone, and he'd get in the corner and nail a three every time. Probably my fault I didn't play him enough, because we could use some more shooting on the outside. But I think if he grows a little bit here, hopefully, cross your fingers, he is a good enough shooter that he can play definitely JV next year and then work his way in varsity here by the time he gets older. So keep working on your ball handling and you'll get there. Mason Miller is a leaper, athletic kid, likes to block everything, go after every rebound, which is good. Really towards the end of the year, started becoming our best shooter that we had. He would shoot it, and a lot of times it went in. And he would gamble and get a lot of steals and get a lot of layups. Probably our best perimeter defender, but getting steals and that type of thing. Really forced the offense into making decisions. He really improved over the end of the year. And if he continues to improve, you can see some varsity time next year. But you got to work at it. Keep that. He's too good. Roman, I think, is one of these freshmen that just hasn't quite caught up to the other ones yet. A little more maturity in him. You growth spurt, get to be a tall dad. That'd be awesome. He played point guard for us. He's a really good ball handler, and he's a lefty, which is good. A lot of people try to take away the left, and he just takes right to the basket because he's left-handed, and they don't realize it. He did a really good job this year. He played on top of our 3-2 defense that we were playing, or our 1-2-2 press, and just ran. A little bit more conditioning would be good for him, but when he was up there, he played as hard as he could and didn't want to come out of the game. So, good job, Ron. Keep working. Michael's also not here. Forgot to add, before we started here, Michael and Marco and Noah didn't get a whole lot of playing time this year. We had a lot of numbers, but one thing that Jason and I, after one game, our score sheet had 12 kids on it when we went and played at Winfield. And every one of those kids on the score sheet scored a point. It was awesome. Mike scored a point. Marco had, I think, 4 that game. And we just thought that was really cool. Everybody got in the game, and everybody scored a point. That's these kids here. They want to pass the ball, get everybody involved. And yeah, we were really thrilled when we saw it. Chase Waterhouse. Chase Waterhouse is our intimidator. That's good. We need to have somebody like that. Fits in well with me. Maybe he throws the elbows a little bit too much. I'm okay with it at times, but very physical down low. Will go after every rebound. Maybe one of the most awkward offensive posts that we have, but he gets it and he finishes. So I can't really say anything about it. If he can really refine his offensive game, he will be a threat and he will get varsity time here very soon because he's big, he's physical, and knows where to be. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Jason, you want anything? Okay. You guys did a good job this year. Let's say 16-4. A couple things go differently. We could have been undefeated. We did lose a couple kids to the varsity, and then a couple came down also Paul talk about them. But for having different lineups all throughout the year and just kind of throwing things at them, that's what I love really doing. Just, okay, guys, here's a 1-3-1, go run. Maybe we've done it once in practice just to see what they could do. And they always handled it well and could always adjust whatever we wanted to do. So good job this year, fellas. Paul, do you want to go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to rewind a little bit to about a year ago. Everything was kind of going smoothly. We had our words. There was this kind of a thing going on. And all of a sudden, everything stopped. And at that time, it was kind of like, everything get back to normal. We'll be okay. And school stopped. And they're like, oh, how long will this last? And he just kept waiting and waiting. And then over the summer, they said, well, we're going to try to get baseball going, softball going. And as a basketball coach, I'm like, that's great. Am I going to be able to do anything this summer? I got a young team. We need to get in the gym. We need to do things. And the answer was no. And then they kind of let this little piece of information out there. Well, we're going to let the baseball team work out in weight rooms and do stuff. So I went to Chad. I'm like, oh, we're opening up the weight rooms. He's like, no. It's for baseball. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we wait a little more, and we're patient. And eventually they say, well, if you come up with a plan. And I remember sitting in Mr. Earker's room, and we came up with our plan, and he sent it in, and we heard Winfield's was rejected, so we were kind of a little disappointed. But I just kept, what's the worst they can do? They tell us no. So let's push for this. And they said yes. And also I was like, yes. And so we were able to bring kids in. We were able to work out. We had to wear masks. We had to take temperatures. We had to social distance. And the kids were excellent. They did all that. And you were just always kind of on pins and needles for it to stop or something go wrong. And here we are at the end of this season, and nothing went wrong. And I'm just really appreciative of that and the opportunities these kids got to play during the summer. We didn't get to do all the things we wanted to do, but we got to do a lot. We lost some games early on. Like I said, with Coach Eichenberger's help, we were able to reschedule those, and we got all of our games in. And so I'm just really appreciative of that. And so as we talk about the season, there was injuries, vacations, quarantines, things that kind of went wrong, but we still got the season in. 19 different kids were dressed varsity this year. We had 9 different starters at different points this season, and yet we still survived. We won 5 of our last 9 games, including the last 2, and that's kind of a big deal because we'll be one of the only teams that go into next season besides, those state championships that ended with a win this year. And so we have that momentum that'll carry us forward. We had an individual record set this year, so you could see the improvement as the season went on. So at the beginning of the year, we're kind of looking at our experience and said, okay, what can we do best? And we thought we could stick with our upperclassmen and work on our defense. And as we played more and more, we kind of had to make a transition. And so about mid-year, we kind of looked to more of our athletic players and try to score more, look for more offense. And so those new rotations are starting to pay off at the end. And like I said, you could see more consistency. And there was more just in-game adjustments than having to make adjustments during the week. And so with that, I think the kids gained confidence. And like I said, I was really pleased where we ended up at the end of the year. So we had one of the toughest schedules in the state. Thank Coach Eichenberger for that. That was sarcastic, Coach Eichenberger. That's okay. No, it was great. We played Springville in the tournament. Their only losses were to North Lynn, and we played North Lynn this year. We made the trip. It was a great opportunity to see some really good programs up close and personal and compete with those teams. And so, again, like I said, with all that, not to mention some of the other schools' upgrades due to some imports from different states, we moved forward and we improved and we enjoyed a pretty good basketball season this year. So I'm going to talk about the 3 freshmen that are still standing up here. Just for a minute here, Coach already did an excellent job. I just want to take a moment because these 3 young men lettered this year, which means they played half the varsity quarters. Colton Lichty, he's a lefty. He likes to shoot with his right for some reason. He also throws a baseball with his right hand. So, I don't know. Karen, I don't know what happened. But he did lead the team in charges taken. And he's going to be a big piece moving forward here with that willingness to sacrifice his body and just his ability to work hard. Reese Oswalt, he's a very conscientious kid. He's always working on his shot. He's in math class working on his shot. And as a math teacher, I don't discourage it for about 5 minutes, and I say, okay, let's do some math. And so we're working on it. He was third on the team in field goal percentage. So we just need to get him to look for a shot more next year. Hunter Hughes, you started to see his potential at the Kyoto game. He had 13 points. Then we had our 3-week break with COVID. And then a strained calf kind of sidelined him for a couple more weeks. But I think you could see the potential in this final game where he had 20 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals. The time that he did play varsity, he led the team in assists. And so these are 3 freshmen, like I said, moving forward, along with the JV team. Coach Sutton and Coach Roth did an excellent job preparing. I think you're going to see some good things coming forward here in the next few years. Coach mentioned we pulled up some sophomores early on. One of the things we thought that we needed was more ball handling. And so we pulled up Drew Deere, Isaac Oswald, and Simeon Reichenbach. So if you guys want to come up here. Drew was one of these 3 sophomores. He started with us at the varsity level. That was based on his the way he worked so hard in the summer. In the weight room, in the gym, you can see the strength and his ability to score. As we started to move along in the season, some of those minutes started to get pinched a little more. And so you can see that skill set develop even more on the JV level. Isaac Oswalt was, again, another very active sophomore for us. He kind of took control of the point guard position. He led the team with deflections this year. He was second on the team in assists. He led the team in scoring at home against Cardinal and at West Burlington. His father and I were kind of trying to make a little connection between his ability to play basketball when he had a girlfriend. I call it the Aaron Rodgers connection. How does that affect his play? And so we're still measuring that now. Isaac was recognized for all conference honorable mention this year also. Simeon Reichenbach, he had 4 double-doubles this year. He had a 24-point, 10-rebound outing for Central League. He led us in points scored, rebounds, steals. He's just a great athlete. One thing we have to work on is communication. At Cardinal, I yelled at him. I kind of have this, like, he thinks of me like as a dad. Because I yell at him, he just looks at me and smiles. I ended up in the emergency room that week, and I'm not blaming Simeon. Okay? But it didn't help. No, he's a great kid. Always, if you really watch, he's always competing. If you talk to the kids, he has kind of, I don't know if you're familiar with Kevin Garnett. He's kind of a crazy guy on the court. He was always yelling. He was yelling at himself. And if you watch Simeon, he does that. He's yelling at himself. He's slapping himself. And it's just something that probably doesn't even realize. Simeon was recognized this year at all conference as a second-team selection. So congratulations, Simeon. Moving on to our juniors. You guys all come up here. We have Jacob Eichenberger, Jonah Egley, Taylor Sutton, Tyler Sutton, Zach Schmidt, Vincent Jones. All of you stood there. Jonah couldn't be here with us tonight, but he's just a great kid. Great kid to have on your team, just a great teammate, always comes to practice, ready to learn, ready to work. He'll do whatever you ask. And so all season he improved. And anytime he got in the game, he looked forward to getting that shot, just to show you how much he's improved. And so moving forward, like I said, Jones is a junior, and we look forward to having him out next year. Jacob Eichenberger, about the only thing I remember about Jacob, that's not true. But one film session, he asked me, he's like, Coach, you think I'm a step slow? Because I tell the kids they're always a step slow. I said, no, you're about 2 steps slow, but it's not for lack of trying. Jacob works so hard on the floor. Just sometimes the wheels don't turn fast enough. And Coach McGowan, if you really listen, he's get going person. And you can hear him yelling at Jacob sometimes. And Coach Ross next to him, he's a nice patient Turk as a coach. And that's as fast as he can go right now. So Jacob's been in the weight room, and so next year we're looking for him to speed up that game and can just continue to improve. He had some big shots for us. Just recently down at Van Buren, we were having trouble putting points on the board. Jacob came in the game, hit a couple shots right away, and this was kind of a spark as we were moving forward. He also led our team in scoring and rebounding down at Danville. And like I said, he's a great person to kind of get the offense going coming off the bench. Taylor Sutton, again, you're going to see a theme here. We are a very hard-working team. And, Taylor's a great example of that. He works extremely hard in the offseason. He put himself in competition for that starting guard position this year. And at the beginning of the season, you could see that improved ball handling and the work that he put in on his shot. And then he was one of those players that kind of got caught as we transitioned to a little taller, a little more athletic build on the team. But he could still, every practice he came in and he was very competitive and he continued to push the playing time. And so it's going to be that same kind of offseason for Taylor, I know. And so anybody that's standing here or stood up here for this program better be aware that Taylor Sutton is still here. And so he's going to continue to push the players, not only getting better himself, but in doing so, getting our rest of the team better. And Tyler Sutton, again, I think his goal is to be the strongest basketball player Waco's ever had. Just kills himself in the weight room sometimes to the point where, like, he would ache. His knees would ache. And so maybe step back just a little bit there. But again, he's one of those kids that continue to look to improve. And I don't know if you remember Tyler's shot last year. They had a little kick to it, and so he got rid of that. And it was a very nice shot toward the end of the year. And again, he's one of those guys that's going to continue to push everybody to get better. And so he's a great teammate to have. Effort is never an issue. You're going to hear that over and over again with this team. Zach Smith never missed this summer. Once we opened up the gym, Zach was here. He's jump out of the gym. He's him and Simeon after practice are always hanging on the rim trying to break the backboard so we can buy new ones. And so he's doing his part. He was second on the team in rebounding and blocks. He led the team in scoring versus New London at home. He scored 10 points over Benjamin. Very coachable kid, very intelligent, and just does what you ask. Does it to the best of his ability. And so with that, he was recognized by the conference for honorable mention this year. Vincent Jones, about the only thing that could stop Vincent was Vincent. And a little redheaded guard from Notre Dame got him once. Just once. All right, so he was a difference inside a lot of games. It was nice having him coming off the bench. He led us in scoring against Columbus Junction with 20 points. I got a little ahead of myself there. And he broke a record this year for field goal percentage in a season. He shot 71% from the field. And so that was top in the conference, fourth in 1A. And I think besides all that record and stuff, if you watch Vincent, if you look at our poster, kind of models what he does, he became a very vocal leader for us on the basketball court. You could hear him yelling good things to his teammates, supporting them, encouraging them. And so that was a lot of growth and leadership I saw throughout the season with Vincent. So congratulations, Vincent, on the record. I look forward to next year. Our two seniors, side by side there, Colton Conley, Will Eichenberger. Colton had some ankle issues this year, fought through them, all right? He led the team in blocks. He was elected captain of our team this year and was just kind of that quiet presence throughout the year. He led the team in scoring on senior night here at home against Notre Dame to kind of cap that off. And he ended it, like I said, against Van Buren defensively, just kind of taking charge. So Colton did an excellent job. He's a big kid, and he's a great kid. And so there's a reason he was voted captain. And so we'll miss him next year. Will Eichenberger, another senior, had some injury issues with his shoulder that you probably weren't aware of. But he did a nice job for us. He was our top scorer in a couple games up at North Lynn. And one time I asked the kids, I go, so did they as captains, they're supposed to speak before every game and pump them up. And Will said, you know what I noticed is like, if we don't say anything, we do a lot better. I said, okay, go with that. And most importantly for Will Eichenberger was the victory he had on our game night. And there's a trophy behind Coach Sutton, Coach Roth there. If you would present that to Will Eichenberger. He was our 2K basketball champion, which is a big deal, people. So I think that deserves a round of applause. At this time, I'd like to have our coaches come up and give out their Coaches Appreciation Awards.
I guess I'm only prepared. So we give a appreciation award out every year, and Paul texted me the other night and asked who I wanted for this award, and I was down to two. I got to thinking about two. I got down to Jacob and I got down to Will. And then Thursday after our last game, Jacob decided to TP my house, so I went with Will. True story. But the reason I really appreciate Will this year, he played guard, all the way through high school here, and then we had a lot of ball handlers that we had on the team, so we were trying to figure out some people that wanted to or needed to play post because that's where they were going to get a lot of playing time. Will played it. I'm sure he wasn't most thrilled about it, but I never really heard about it. He just did it, and some of the younger kids started playing there towards the end, maybe took a little bit of time away from him, and he kind of, pouted and been upset about it, but I never heard about it. And you could tell he was a senior and one of the leaders on the team, and that's why I picked Will. So, good job, Will.
Okay, Simeon, come on up. Simeon. I picked Simeon this year because I see him every morning at the weight room, working hard, never complains. Kind of the same like Will this year. He kind of started in one position, started as maybe a number 3 player, and then would have to transition into a post player. A lot of times he was the guy that would help bring the ball up through the press and then transition into a post. I just really appreciated the fact that he would take multiple positions and do whatever we told him each game, and that might change during the week for the next game, and not complain about it. I like him not complaining and just doing what needs to. Good job, Simeon.
We have too many shitty coaches. But anyway, first of all, I want to congratulate the guys on a great season. Usually you don't have a lot of wins. Sometimes it's like, oh man, the season's over finally. This year it's just the opposite. It's really disappointing that our season ended because we were really playing well and doing well at the end of the year. And it's doggone it, we couldn't keep playing. We played a lot of games this year. We've actually played more games this year than we have the last 2 years. So I don't know how that happens, but it just did this year. So that's good to see. One thing that I always appreciate in players is kind of their demeanor on the floor. When things don't go well, you're the same person. If your shot isn't falling, you don't start forcing shots. You just keep taking shots within the offense and just doing a great job. If things go well, you're kind of always the same mentality to what you do. I think it's a great quality to have because, trust me, bad things are going to happen, and how you handle them says a lot about where you're going to be and what you're going to do. So this year, we had a lot of guys graduate last year, and one of the challenges was ball handling for us, and it was a real challenge for our guards and to come in and step in and not a lot of help sometimes and do a good job. And so with that, my coach's award goes to Isaac Oswald.
And my appreciation award goes to Hannah Hughes and J.C. Miller, our 2 managers this year. If you guys would come up. These guys received no formal training. I don't really even ask them. They just show up, like the first game. And like, I'm like, oh, good, you showed up. Here's a couple clipboards. Why don't you keep stats for us? And they do an excellent job. They also kind of remind me of things that I may not remember. And they kind of mother hen the boys sometimes, which I know the boys appreciate just to know it. And so they did an excellent job for us. And so I just like to thank them and invite them back next year in case I forget. Again, thank you for your patience with us as coaches. We're really proud of this team, and we're really proud of your sons and the way they work and just the energy they put forth. And I can't tell you how easy it is to coach when you have that from your players. And so thank you again. At this time, I'd like to welcome up the Southeast Iowa Super Conference South Coach of the Year, Lisa Graber.
Well, a little bit, because of that, I'll be welcoming up the team, because that's how we got there. So thanks, Paul, that I was gonna get to the night about that. It is true, but that all comes because of the team we have this year and everybody working together. Can you hear me guys see? Right level? Okay. So as I was preparing for awards night tonight, last time I did this was many, many moons ago. And if anybody knows me very well, I'm sort of a pack rat. And so I still have a tote of stuff from the first awards night. And in that tote of things was my notes that I typed away in 2003 to 2004 season for Waco girls basketball. And I sort of was going to copy it, and then I sort of went a different direction. As I thought about our season, the things that I think about is the words progress and growth and improvement. And I think that's the way our season looked for our team. I also ran across my very first notebook from my coaching class I took in 1999 on a Sunday, October 31st. And I must have got bored because I have letters written in here to people that I never sent. But when I was sort of going through some things to get ready for the season, I read this stuff, and I read it again as I was going through things to get ready for tonight. And why do kids participate in sports? And I thought about that as I came back many years after coaching the first time around at Waco. And we learned, and I think this is still true, to have fun, improve skills, and learn new ones, for thrills and excitement, to be with friends, to succeed and win. And why do kids quit? Because they don't meet their goals. They want to pursue other activities. They need to work. They're not interested. They're not getting enough playing time. Skills weren't improving, and they don't like the coach. I think that's probably all still true. And we had a nice group come out this year. We had 28 girls start the season. We finished with 24. There were some injuries that we had. Some people weren't playing at the end of the season, but I think it was a nice group. And when you have numbers, you have things to work with, from our freshmen through our senior group. So it was nice to have those numbers. Sometimes it felt like a lot in practice to try to get things done. And we have a lot of work to do in the off season if they'll stick it out. And those things, and speaking to the freshmen in particular, if you guys stick it out, it'll be interesting to come here in a few years and talk to you guys when you're seniors. But that's up to you guys, and we're here to work with you guys. So here we are now, and how can we do better, have progress, improve, and grow? I returned to this. We're gonna all probably have our COVID stories, but last year when I heard there's a coaching opening, it was right before spring break. We had parent-teacher conferences, and I scheduled a double conference for one for Cody and one for Morgan, so I could get lots of time with our math teacher, who's also our ID, who's Mr. Eichenberger. And I was like, this is something we should entertain. And then the opportunity was there, and I wanted to return because I love the kids and I love the game. And the combination of those things is worth spending time on, and spending time this winter working on basketball. And it was really challenging because, like Mr. Kissel had mentioned, we couldn't get in to do anything this summer until July. And when you come in as a new coach and you have things you want to install and things you want to do, that's really hard to not have that time to get in with these kids. But we used the summer. We had quite a few show up to open gyms, and I think more than I'd ever had previously. I have different ideas on that. Part of it's because like technology this time around, you can communicate with kids and get them there. Before, I used to have to pick up the landline and go through a calling list. Like when I coached before, this is how old I am. We would start with our seniors, and I'd say call the juniors, and the juniors would call the sophomores and the freshmen. And so we can get in touch with kids and they show up. And I think that's partly because kids want to be there and partly because parents push them to be there. So that was the summer, and that's how COVID started with us. And it's sort of the cloud that hung over our heads the whole season, preseason and on. But anyway, I want to bring these kids up here, and I'm going to talk about them as a collective group, because as our participation and awards say, they're certificates of either a letter or participation, and you letter if you played over half the quarters of the varsity season. Otherwise, you get a certificate of participation, and it's because you contribute to the success of our program. Okay, and so for everybody in every sport, no program works without everybody that shows up every single day in practice. And so a lot of times the varsity gets the glory. That's who people come and watch. As a whole, the majority of people, but it takes the whole program, day in and day out at practice, at weights, summers, open gyms. And so I want to bring everybody up collectively on our team. And I'll go through those names here. Okay, we'll start with the freshmen. Zoe Denler and Marie Farmer, Alyssa Ferdig, Haley Hughes, Meredith Roth, and you guys can just line up. Yep. Katrina Sells, Hallie Shellman, Taylor Steins, Rhiannon Horn, Jessica Undernair, Emma Wagler, and Naomi Egley. I know she couldn't be here, but she wasn't. So that's our freshmen, and I don't know. We did an end of the year exit survey online, and I kept it anonymous. I don't know who said what, but the way I'd summarize for the freshmen is high school is a big step up from junior high, and as we continue to improve, it's going to get a whole lot better during high school. And it was, you guys are aware of that. You played and competed against people that we can get there. And the goal is to get there as we progress towards your varsity years. That's what junior varsity is for, and stick together and work hard. You guys are competitors, but if you keep caring and working hard, that will get you where you need to go. Okay? Sophomores. Grace Coble, Ella Kissel, Avery Waterhouse, Katie Lichty, Heaven Steege, and Natalie West. And sophomores, the same thing. You guys, some of you played JV, some of you played varsity, and we'll get to that. But you're still sophomores, and you have a couple years ahead, and it will be sort of your lead to take, because we don't have a big junior group, and we talked about that. And so I guess I challenge you guys in front of the community and the parents that you guys work in the off season, and we continue to build this program and work together as a team. So juniors, Jaquela Braidberg. We have one lone junior. And I will share a story about Jaquela. Unless I'm wrong, the only practice she was like, she didn't miss practices. Jacayla didn't really get to play, right? But she stuck with us, and it was a really cold morning. It was a Friday morning, super bitter cold. Jacayla had overslept, and she called me, and she wanted to come practice, but it was pretty cold to walk. And so one of her teammates went and picked her up because she didn't want to miss practice, and she stuck it out with us. And that's sort of tough sometimes when you don't get to see any time and you have to do everything everybody does. So good job, Jacayla. Our seniors, Aubrey Garnsey, Molly McLaughlin, Leela Fort, Morgan Graber, and Lindsay Ross. Our varsity letter winners are Aubrey, Molly, Leela, Morgan, Lindsay. Those are seniors. And then our sophomores are Grace, Ella, and Katie. So congrats to our letter winners also. The next awards I want to go through is our all-conference selections. Ella Kissel is first team all-conference. So congrats to her, that's a great honor. And along with that, I want to acknowledge the fact that Ella broke our school's 3-point record. She had 7 in a game against Highland, and that's really great because I remember when it was set with 6 and Ella broke it. So that's a great record to break. And she was close in our assists, and I think we'll get there, but the assist is a really interesting one because you can't just make a pass, somebody has to finish. And that's how we got close there. And that was a great night for our team too, that she got close on that. And so we'll work to get close to that too, as we work together as a team. Morgan Graber, second team all conference. And then all conference for the super conference in the South Division, honorable mention was Grace Coble and Aubrey Gardner. And a final honor for some certificates I have is Academic All-State. And you as a senior have to have a 3.85 to get that award. And we have Morgan Graber and Lindsay Roth for that. So great job. Real quick to recap our season as a team, and I have them up here. I need to mention Dwayne can't be here this evening. He's in Des Moines. His son, Dustin, Dustin coaches for Waukee, and so Dwayne's up there supporting Dustin and watching the Waukee girls play this week. But Jenny Green is here to help me, and I wasn't sure if she could make it, and so I was going to make the girls stand up here the whole time, so I had to be up here alone. So I'm going to keep them up here, even though Jenny showed up, because I want to talk about our season, and it took the whole team. But real quick, we were overall 8-13. In the Super Conference South Division, we were 6-7. And just to summarize the season, we started out with a shootout against Wapello, and it felt great, I think. I think we played really well together. And then as we started our regular season games, I think there was more pressure to that or something. But we had 7 games that were 10 points or less. Our losses were 10 points or less, and a lot of them were like 2, 3, and 4 points. And so as the season went, we talked about what we could do to improve on those things. Details such as hustling, rebounds, free throws, maybe miss layups. And we kept improving. We got 6 games in before Christmas. We almost had a month off from games. We were out of shape. We quarantined. And I know everybody has that story. But when we started to really come around, our bright spot was the Van Buren game, 68-43. And I can't remember dates and times like some people. It's been a while since we've knocked off Van Buren for the Waco Girls basketball program. And that was a really bright spot. And it was the best teamwork I think we had had all year. And that's why we pulled off that win. And then we followed that up on senior night with the Danville win, 49-41. It was a win in overtime, a great team effort. And we just continued to have those bright spots. And I think that is, with the awards in the conference, when we got to the coaches meeting, that's what people recognized was those spots during the season. And credit to the girls for believing, because we were off to a rough start with a lot of close losses, and we turned those close losses into close wins. So I think it was a successful season that way. But it was really a mental game, and it took some team effort and some hard work. And then, so finally, I want to bring the managers up too. Maggie Renner and Ella Janchek. To top off the season, with our whole team, they help us with so many things that we do. I don't always expect a lot out of them, but anything I'd say and text them, they would show up and they would help out with. And it just really helps top the team off and everything that we do. I didn't know how to wrap the season up quite for sure. And so I called the seniors and I said, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty details about you guys here in front of everybody, but I called them all and I asked them, why do you play and stick it out? And I heard a variety of answers, but I think it can be summarized as the sports, it teaches you determination, it helps you grow. Things don't always go great, but you learn how to deal with it. Someone want to be with their friends and play one last time. You know, most of you started in 4th grade, some of you sooner, and why quit before you're finished? And I think that that's a good way to summarize the season and for everybody going forward. If you put this kind of time into it, keep working hard and good things will happen. And if things don't go like you want, maybe change your perspective. So once again, we want to have progress, improve, and grow as a team. And we hope that the girls basketball program will do that going forward. That's it, but I want to say one more thing because Mr. Kissel did a really, really good job covering literally everything. Thank you. That was super detailed, the thank yous, and you were spot on. The only thing he didn't mention, and I think he wanted to, and if anybody knows Mr. Kissel, they'll know about this, but not only do we have these extensions on the hoops, we didn't do that just so we could put black tape on the floor and extend our free throw line back, but we did it because we want them to support a rectangle backboard, right? So we're gonna drive towards that for our basketball programs here in the spring and off season. And we're gonna reach out and hopefully we can improve that and help our teams improve. Because we do believe as coaches that will make a difference. When we go to other gyms, most people have a rectangle backboard. And I think that's maybe also why sometimes our shooting percentages aren't what they can be. So we're gonna work towards that. And the girls, we're gonna get them in here and they'll use those. So anyway, congrats on your season, guys. Thanks for the hard work. Thank you for your time and effort and for showing up all the time. Good job, girls.
This time, I'd like to welcome our wrestling program lead, new guy. I don't know how many know this, but he has a very distinguished academic record. Coming to us from the Wise Muscatine, where all great leaders first grace these halls. So, okay, he's like enough of that. Here you go.
First, I'd like to start off by thanking all the parents for all the wrestling parents and everything like that. Without you guys and your kids' support, it's kind of a rough season. We didn't have a full team, but we worked with what we had. We didn't really focus on winning duels or anything like that. With 3 to 4 wrestlers, it's pretty highly unlikely. But the wrestlers came together, started getting better as the season went on. I mean, not too bad. What else? Well, I am up here. I might as well have them all come up. We got 2 of them here tonight, and then we got 3 managers. Well, one of the managers is a manager / wrestler. Yeah. All right. I'm going to start off with McLaughlin. He started out the year doing pretty good. He's trying hard. He's having a hard time getting matches, finishing the matches when he wanted to. He wrestled a kid from L&N. His name, Skyler from L&N. He had a hard time getting this kid. The kid can't beat him in his first period and second period. And then districts, sectionals. Sectionals, McLaughlin pulls off the big upset and beats the L&N kid, which is pretty exciting. And then, Landon Pergino here. Didn't know much about him. He started the season late with us. We went into sectionals with a 3-6 record. Something like a 3-5 record. Come out of sectionals, winning sectionals as a 4 seed. It doesn't really happen. So we knocked off the 1 seed first. Yeah, and just kept on going. After that, he went to districts and placed second, beating the Goose Lake kid. So that was pretty cool. After that, well, we made state. State was fun, but it didn't quite go like you wanted it to go. But realistically, all that matters is we made it out there. Good way to end the senior year. And then on to the managers. Without them, I probably would have forgot quite a bit throughout the season. Just to be completely honest. They had, as soon as I had the door open, the wrestling open, they had everything they needed every time we left. They didn't forget anything once. Unlike somebody we know. That's what we do. We'll come back to that. Managers, we had they designed us shirts this year. They've taken pictures, took a video for us all season long. It was awesome having them around. Hoping to keep coming back. And then we're on to our wrestler/manager. Who decided she wanted to start wrestling 2 months ago and went in and wrestled at a state tournament and did fairly well for their first tournament now. So that was pretty much our season in a nutshell. It's hard to go with what we had, but we made it work, and we ended strong. So we all did pretty well for the season. All right. That's about all I have, man. Yeah.
Jenny Bosch now with our cheerleaders.
So like Mr. Kissel said, my name is Jenny Cash. This is my first year of coaching cheerleading ever, so it was quite the learning experience, but it was a lot of fun. I started coaching cheerleading the year that COVID started, so that was great to work with. But I had a lot of great girls that helped me out along the way, so they made it all really easy. We had some lower numbers for the winter season, but we made it work with what we could do. So I'm just gonna call them all up here so they can join me. We had Lydia. She cheered for wrestling. Rael isn't here tonight, but she did wrestling and basketball. And Heaven cheered for basketball. And John was our Wilson this year. So just a little bit about these girls. They helped me out a lot this year with learning the cheers, learning how Waco does things with cheerleading. I had lots and lots of questions, and they helped me out with all of it. So I really thank them for that. They are all really dedicated. They really enjoy cheerleading. They want to make it great. And so I really appreciate all the work and the time that they put in. And I just wanted to thank Mr. Eichenberger for everything and Mrs. Reichenbach for answering all of my many questions. And a big thank you to the parents for supporting their kids throughout the season. Other than that, that's about all I've got. So thank you, girls and John.
And then to wrap up the evening night, we have Taylor McIntyre to recognize our dance team.
Hang on, let me get my notes out before I forget anything. Okay, so dance team goes a little bit different than every other sports. I have this conversation with the girls pretty much at the start of the season that every performance will be a competition. They go into learning a new dance with not knowing whether or not they're going to perform, which is a lot to handle, especially for girls who are involved in every other single sport and every other activity. And these girls have done amazing this year. They have put up with so much for me this year, whether it be my toddlers coming to practice with me at 6:15. I don't know how much experience everyone has with teenagers at 6:15 in the morning. It's always not the greatest. And these girls come and they have a smiling attitude. They ask what is done for them, or do what I've asked of them, I should say. Another big point from this season was that they were really asked to step out of their comfort zones this year and try a whole different style of dance. They were more revealing costumes, I should say, to put it roughly. And again, every performance, I enjoyed watching them. I love seeing their facial expressions and seeing them enjoy being up there and performing. This year for state, they did take 2 routines that they were both able to place 9th place for in the state, which means they earned a Division I rating. I was incredibly proud of this. They should be incredibly proud. There are lots of teams that go to state every year and do not receive any awards. So it is a great milestone for you girls, and you guys should be extremely proud of yourself. I'm just going to ask all of you to come up at once. That way I can just talk at all of you. So we have Zoe Dindler and Rhiannon Horn, Katie Lichty, Jocelyn, Grace Coble, Lydia Hesseltine, Ella Kissel, Amy Moran, Molly McLaughlin, and Morgan Graber. I'm literally going to have you guys back. Again, I just want to thank you all for everything that you guys have done. These girls are been amazing communicators with me, with each other. Thank you for that. I've had many compliments for you guys. Again, a lot of these girls are athletes. You see them playing volleyball, basketball, anything like that. So seeing them kind of in a more smiling mood when they're dancing and just kind of out there having fun, doing their own thing it's a good change of pace to see. So again, our season is not over. We still do have a couple more performances, which I believe that they're excited for. I'm excited for, and I look forward to it. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, we'd like to thank everybody for coming this evening and recognizing our winter teams and the accomplishments they all had this year. So also I'd like to recognize again each of the coaches for taking the time and just making Waco special. And so again, thank you everybody for coming. And fellas, if you'll help pick up the chairs, that would be greatly appreciated.